I'm Stephen, USSR Robinson, and you're watching Sport Icons. Papa!
Okay, so in this video, we'll do something a little bit different to what I would normally do, as in outside of boxing news. So I want to give you 15 fights within the heavyweight division that I would like to see at some point in 2022, anywhere from January all the way up to December. And I've tried to make it as realistic as possible rather than just fantasy matchmaking, because for me, there's no reason why these particular fights can't happen based on where all these fighters are currently in their career, based on the rankings and all those kind of things. Now, don't get me wrong, I could have given you much more than 15 fights. Are we likely to see all these 15 fights? No. But there's no reason why we shouldn't. And if we were to get even some of them, it would change the heavyweight division landscape, and we'll have a better understanding as to who is the who of the heavyweight division, depending on where they are in their career. Anyway, so here's my 15. Is there any fights here that you don't like and you wouldn't want to watch? Maybe there is, maybe there isn't. And yes, of course, there may be some other fights out there as well. Of course there will be. Anyway, but here's my personal 15. Tyson Fury versus Dillian Whyte for the WBC World Heavyweight title. Of course, we're going to get Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk, the rematch, and that'll be for the WBA, IBF, WBO, and IBO Unified World Heavyweight titles. I'd like to see the winner of those two fights fight each other for undisputed. Equally, I'd like to see the loser of those two fights fight each other as well. There's no reason why we can't see those 4 fights within 2022. Also, I'd like to see Joyce versus Frank Sanchez. Of course, that will be for the WBO mandatory, as Joyce is currently the WBO mandatory and he ain't likely to get a world title shot anytime soon. I'd like to see Stephen Robinson versus Nick Campbell, hopefully for an English title. Reason being, both of these guys are on very, very similar in their career. Stephen Robinson's 4-0. Nick Campbell, I believe, is 3-0. So in 3 or 4 fights' time, there's no reason why they couldn't put an English title on the line for these two to have a fight. They're both on Sky Sports, of course, signed to Boxer. I'd love to see that fight. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz Jr. About time these two got it done. Now, if Deontay Wilder decides to retire and not come back, then replace Deontay Wilder with Otto Wallin. I'd like to see that one. Filip Hrgovic versus Tony Yoka for the IBF mandatory position. No reason why that fight can't be happening. Again, look at the rankings. Hughie Fury versus Daniel Dubois for the WBA mandatory. Again, look at the rankings. No reason why that fight shouldn't be ordered. Alen Babic versus Solomon Dakares. Again, for me, that would be a fantastic fight, and we'll see who is really who between those two fellas. Fabio Wardley versus Nathan Gorman. Maybe for a British title. No reason why the British title can't be on the line. Current British champion Joyce, I believe he's just vacated it or he's about to vacate it. Johnny Fisher versus George Fox. Again, both very, very similar in their careers so far. Yes, on different platforms. Johnny Fisher is Matchroom, Eddie Hearn, and George Fox is Queensberry, Frank Warren. But there's no reason why that fight can't happen. David Adelaide, 7-0. versus, I believe he's 7-0, maybe 8-0, Jared Anderson of America. Again, 2 prospects here from the UK, and of course from the United States of America. Let's get these two on. Frank Warren has a very good relationship with the PBC, with Bob Arum, Al Heyman, whatever else. So there's no reason why his guy David Adelaide can't fight Jared Anderson. Martin Bakole versus Arslanbek Makhmudov. That would be a classic of a fight. These two would just stand in the middle of the ring, punching lumps out of each other. I'd love to see that fight. And the Chisora Parker winner, of course, that's going to be happening before we hit 2022, to take on Luis Ortiz. So that's my 15. For me, I would like to see all of those fights. Of course, I can pull out many, many more. In fact, I could probably just keep on going. But I want to keep it as realistic as possible based on where they are currently in their career and the rankings for each sanctioning body. For me, there's no reason why these fights can't happen. Will they all happen? Very, very unlikely. But most of them should, based on the current rankings. They should at least be ordered. Anyway, drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, and of course subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.